This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Robin McCarran.
You know, we had some feedback from our last show.
Okay.
Episode 94. More than one person told me or spoke to others and said that I was a little rude to you, cutting you off, not letting you get picks in, forgetting your existence, really.
Jeff Hawkins.
I'm being trolled.
Hold
right
on,
now,
Jeff, wait. Wait, I have breaking news coming into the news desk here.
You're listening to Shake Them Ropes with Robin McCarran and Jeff Hawkins.
Daniel, have you ever seen a ghost? Hello, everybody, and welcome to Shake Them Ropes. It is episode 96. We are closing in on 100 episodes already. Rob McCarran here, joined by Jeff Hawkins. Jeff Hawkins, 100 episodes almost coming up.
Yes.
Are you so excited?
Oh, I'm becoming less and less part of the intro too now. No,
I didn't mean it like that.
I know. No. No, I'm excited about 100. I'm happy I got to 50 and you kept me around. So
You're a very pivotal part of the Hockey Talk intro. And other things, I'm sure.
And since I have to keep up with the gimmick, I need to reference something we're going to talk about today. So Shake Them Ropes Theater presents Woo! Dusty Rhodes! 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 Ad nauseum for 15 minutes.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
You didn't watch our match, did you?
I did, but I don't.
Okay.
How does that play into it?
You can't possibly have missed that. It's picked up on the mic during the entire match.
Oh yeah, okay. I'm like, am I missing something that was like a segment on Raw or a segment on NXT or a segment on, I don't know. But yeah, we're going to talk about our match number 70 in our WWE Network Top 100 Matches to See Before You Die. It is Dusty Rhodes going for the NWA Championship against Ric Flair from Starrcade 1985. The Starrcade that took place in two different buildings, Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about that one. We're going to talk about this Raw from last night and all the big things that are happening from that. We are going to talk about a new talent announced for NXT Takeover in Brooklyn. And we're going to, a little bit of a thing we've been doing the last couple of weeks is talking about how crazy this July 24th is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, July 24th week is here.
Oh.
So we're going to remind everyone how crazy exactly this July 24th weekend is. Not even the weekend, just the day, July 24th. But first, this is how the Daily Show started last night.
It's our first day back from the break. While we were out, huge, important, consequential stories. Lesnar, the Beast, finally tasted the revenge from Undertaker. Oh, and the Iran deal. Also that. But the Lesnar thing was huge.
The Lesnar thing was huge. Jeff, last night's Raw, Brock Lesnar, The Undertaker, they went face to face, and with 20 men in between them, they still battled all the way around the building. Brock Lesnar Undertaker is your main event for SummerSlam. Now on a scale of 1 to 10, how hyped are you?
8.
That's all it took, right? Because you didn't care about this match at all when we talked on Sunday night.
I'm trying to stay excited. I'm still not all that excited, but I'll say an 8.
You're an 8. That's pretty excited, sir.
Well, okay, I'm lying about that.
What? How dare you lie? You can't lie.
They don't know. Oh, wait.
I'm a 10.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see it, but I don't. The hype for the fight will be fine. We're gonna get these pull aparts. We're gonna get a contract signing. We're gonna get Undertaker beating the crap out of Heyman at some point. We got a month to go, don't we? How many weeks do we have? We have 4 or 5 weeks here.
I will look at the schedule now. I believe it might be 4, but at the same time, Jeff, we can't possibly get a contract signing. We can't possibly.
A verbal debate, perhaps.
Oh my God. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 Raws still to go.
Okay.
Not counting last night. We still got 4 more from next Monday on.
It was a nice introduction. Let's see where they take it from here.
It was an absolutely awesome introduction.
Yeah.
But it's an introduction that serves many purposes. One, yeah, to get you excited for this match. Like, okay, so now the build has been going on ever since WrestleMania season last year, right? I mean, with a little break in between, you want to see that Undertaker rematch. Okay, this guy took the streak away from you, so let's get the revenge back there. But also for the fact that they had this crazy brawl and Undertaker was staying one-on-one with them. But now you have a reason to kind of explain why Brock might not be on TV for a bit, why Undertaker might not be on TV for a bit, because the whole story throughout the rest of the show was Triple H trying to keep this main event together. And one way he's going to keep the main event together is to ban both of these guys from the building, maybe until SummerSlam or maybe until the Raw before.
That's interesting. I like that. I like that part of it. Don't overexpose them.
Yeah, I don't know if they're doing that or if that was the plan. If it was, I think that's smart. Like, okay, these guys aren't going to be on every show because one, Undertaker's a part-timer. Brock is still kind of a part-timer. Like, they're not going to be on every show. So this is your logical explanation. Like, they do this with Brock all the time. Like, he wrestles on a pay-per-view and then the next Monday they have to explain why he's not around. So they suspend him. They've suspended him twice. You know, he beats up Vince or he beats up somebody and gets kicked out. Michael Cole was the one time. And this was your explanation now. So playing into the feud, Brock Lesnar won't be around for a couple of weeks because, you know, he can't be trusted to be in the same building.
Yeah, it's a somewhat logical explanation, I think.
And I haven't checked to see if Brock is actually advertised for future shows. I don't know if he is. I'm going off of this just like, what can they do if he's not around? Maybe he's going to be on Raw every week. I don't know.
If I'm a heel and I'm working in this company and Triple H says, man, if these two guys don't go on, we don't know what we're going to do about SummerSlam. I'm holding back.
We need you guys to
I'm holding back and I'm letting them kill each other. And then I'm hoping, hey, you know what? You got a slot open right here. That's the only part of the logic that I didn't really appreciate, to be honest with you. But I know why they did it. And I think the bigger story of this Raw, not necessarily a panic move, but they're loading up the show due to both ratings and also the fact that this is the first SummerSlam in a long time that's in New York. So you get your Cena, you get your McMahons, you get your Undertaker. Which is probably a good thing. Of course, past that, you're on your own, kind of.
What are you talking about? The big Night of the Champions is next, and we all know that it's Nikki Bella going for 300. We got main events in the pipeline. Come on.
Hold on. Is Night of Champions between this and SummerSlam?
No, it's after SummerSlam.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Overall, though, a fun show, top to bottom. I'll ask you this, because this was my only concern coming out of it. With this star-studded show, and with the ratings having been what they are, do you have any concerns for the Divas or the women's division, as I like to call it, not the Divas, if those quarter hours dip? How much in do you think Stephanie is on this as a product rather than as something she can attach herself to? Or identity.
I think they're in on putting the women on TV more and putting them in more prominent roles. I don't know if they are completely in on turning what had been the NXT women's division into the WWE women's division. I don't know if they're all in on that.
Okay.
But I think they're all in right now for at least a month or two on putting more of the women on TV. I mean, yesterday, until that main event took place, the women had more time in the ring than the men did.
Right.
As far as wrestling matches go. Like the men's matches were going 1 minute and 4 minutes. The women's matches were going 9 and 14.
And my concerns about Battleground were alleviated. I think it was a very smart move to give Sasha that win. I thought that was very smart.
Sasha got a win. Charlotte got a win on Raw. Now you talk about the quarter hours. They are going to dip because they're going to dip from the highs of Brock Lesnar and Undertaker and John Cena and Seth Rollins put in those top of the hour slots. Like they're not going to be as high as those. So and if you're worried that they're going to cancel the women out because the ratings are going to dip, whatever was in that place was going to see a dip in the ratings.
I'm not saying dip. I'm saying crater.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. I don't know if I see that happening. Okay, I think maybe the second one.
Good.
You know, you have to condition fans, though. You can't just say, okay, these quarter hours came apart, so now we have to give it up because the fans don't want to watch it. No, they don't want to watch it because what they had been used to seeing was Paige versus Alicia Fox for 4 minutes. That would be meaningless.
Rob, you and I know this.
I know. But
there's a guy at the top who's very prone to change his mind quickly.
I know. But you got to condition the audience to want to watch the television when the women are in the ring, or when a segment that some people like. It goes for the men too. Like sometimes there are men's segments that you're like, oh, this quarter hour dip. Like when Daniel Bryan was on his rise, when CM Punk was the champion, quarter hours were dipping because for 4 years people all saw that CM Punk was a no name that doesn't matter. Right. So it's not just the women. I mean, you got to condition people to care about things that they haven't had to care about for a long time, and that you've sometimes told them not to care about.
No, totally agree. And they've set the table for the rest of the card, I think, for SummerSlam for the most part. Quite a bit of it, at least.
For the most part.
Quite a bit of it, not all of it.
Yeah, we had the Taker and Brock segment, which, you know, I was super entertained by. I mean, it was brawling for 25 minutes, and I loved every second of it. Mm-hmm. But there was a downside that people are focusing on, because sometimes people like to focus on the down things. Like, okay, we got this great segment, but the downside was the fact.
Nothing about that. I would know nothing about being negative about a positive thing. Continue.
In that brawl, Randy Orton was not in it.
Nope.
John Cena was not in it.
Nope. Bray Wyatt wasn't in it.
Bray Wyatt wasn't in it. Kane wasn't in it, but he's still hurt. Seth Rollins wasn't in it.
Dean Ambrose.
Ambrose wasn't even in it. Roman Reigns wasn't in it.
Someone was.
Yes, someone was, and that someone, Heath Slater, was slated as a mid-card geek. And I'm very disappointed by this. Actually, we should be excited because a mid-card geek's probably an upgrade for Heath Slater. But no, Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens was in there just helping dudes. A guy who says fight, Owens fight. A guy who wants to be a part of fights. A guy who goes out there and says fight, fight, fight. Did not want these two guys to fight.
A guy who walks out on his tag team partners later in the evening.
Well, Sheamus told him that, he could do that. Sheamus kind of led the way there. But yeah, Kevin Owens. And this is, no big surprise maybe, but to some, I'm sure it's a huge shock because let's face it, Kevin Owens came into WWE battling John Cena, beating John Cena on his first night. And here we are just 1 month later, 1 single month later.
But they do this with a lot of guys. They did this with Rusev. He's hot for the first month, and now we have to cool down and then rebuild him back up. And then they never really do the rebuild all that great, to be honest with you.
Rusev had 8 months. Rusev had from WrestleMania till the next WrestleMania.
Well, it confirms certain biases and things that we may have thought, according to people that are talking.
People that are talking.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm like Meltzer was talking about it. I'll also say it. He was talking about, at least alluding to the fact that, remember, he's gained weight since going up on the main roster. He's not a Vince guy necessarily. So, I mean, how far can we expect him to go?
Yeah, and this isn't even a commentary on the loss to John Cena, because you know what? People lose to John Cena, okay? People lose to John Cena.
The way he lost.
It's the next night on Raw that's my biggest concern.
Yeah.
Is that, on these pull-apart brawls, you always have the guys who are in the pull-aparts, and then the main eventers, or the guys who have something going on, are never involved in it, okay? Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns, if their segment wasn't so close to this brawl, they probably would have been in there. Maybe not Roman, but Dean Ambrose certainly would have.
Dean would have been, yeah.
But Kevin Owens was just another guy out there, and, it's one of those situations where, okay, for 5 years, CM Punk was just another guy, and then he overcame, and people just got into him even to a higher degree than when he started, and he forced WWE to take a look at him. Now, Kevin Owens has already had WWE taking a look at him and giving him a prominent role. Can he get that back, and how soon might he be able to get that back? Could we be in for another 4-year struggle for Kevin Owens to get on the main roster, or what? Like, what should we think that Kevin Owens can do at a WrestleMania? Do you think Kevin Owens at this point, if you had to guess, is going to get a singles match at WrestleMania?
It might be no.
I realize this is a ridiculous question.
It would be a multi-man singles match of some kind, I think.
Like I realize,
a 3-way, 4-way.
I mean, it's a ridiculous question, one, because it's been less than 1 week, and here we are, Kevin Owens just came off of a match with John Cena, of all people. But, and WrestleMania itself is half singles matches with part-timers and half multi-man matches with everyone else anyway. So it may mean nothing. But
you also have to look at it from the standard WWE point of view kind of a way. Okay, Owens was brought in. He didn't spend that much time in NXT. to be fair. He
No, he
spent a
didn't.
little bit of time. He was brought immediately up to the main roster and given a feud with Cena in which he was red hot. And now it's time to see how loyal he's going to be.
Kevin Owens hasn't even been signed to WWE for, I mean, it's been 1 year.
Yeah.
It's been 1 year, but he didn't even get to NXT until I believe it was August, was when he started with the Performance Center. So we haven't even gotten to that year point yet. So it's one, a little too early, but also I think it's just a matter of, okay, now people have seen Kevin Owens in the main events of NXT, and they've seen the merchandise fly off the shelves, and they've seen Kevin Owens in a main event of pay-per-views back-to-back with John Cena. Like, we've seen Kevin Owens at the high point, and people aren't used to seeing a new guy that they like at the high point and then forced to find his way. Like, they see him forced to find his way, and then he reaches the high point, like Daniel Bryan or like CM Punk. Well, Kevin Owens has always been to the high point.
Yeah, well, Daniel Bryan is that whole story is an anomaly compared to this. I think they're gonna put him back in the pack and they're gonna see if he floats or if he's Wade Barrett. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think that's what they're gonna do here. Although I liked how they took him out of the main event, turning him basically into Bad News Brown, where he's the heel that even other heels hate. That's kind of cool. That might be something.
He's the guy that everyone should hate. But
yeah,
I mean, he's the guy everyone should hate. And I don't know what we're looking for SummerSlam here, because we got the main event as clear as day, Undertaker and Brock, but we still have 4 weeks to find out what the rest of the card is. And with John Cena as the US champion and Kevin Owens seemingly away from John Cena now, and the Ryback is the Intercontinental champion and still in a program with Miz and Big Show while he's recuperating, what is Kevin Owens going to fight for? Like, what's the prize? Is he going to be a heel that fights other heels? Like, are we actually getting a Sheamus, Kevin Owens, Rusev program out of that main event last night? Or was that just something to do on TV?
I think it was something to do on TV.
Okay,
there's no guarantee he's going to be on SummerSlam since he's the main event of the NXT show the night before.
That's true too. That's true. I think he has to be.
I think he has to be. Yeah, but there's no guarantee.
Otherwise, what do you do with him on TV for the next 4 weeks? Because it doesn't seem like they're going to push the Balor match much. I mean, it's not like Finn Balor is going to be on Raw cutting promos against Kevin Owens and vice versa.
No, you put him in a. Well, it seems like you're setting up different things for him, because I mean, you could put him in a feud with Cesaro. That'd be fine with me. I'd be happy to see that.
Yeah. You know, there's a segment of people out there, and if you feel this way, perfectly fine, that don't like when people fantasy book. Like, just enjoy the ride, enjoy what's going on, quit fantasy booking. You're only setting yourself up for disappointment. And I can kind of see the you're setting yourself up for disappointment argument, because if you're fantasy booking, you're trying to plan out what could be the best possible scenario. And if that doesn't happen, then you're going to be disappointed because it didn't reach the best possible scenario. But there's a difference to me between fantasy booking and trying to figure out what's going to happen.
Yes. Yeah, fantasy booking is your hopes.
Fantasy booking is, this is what I would do if I had the plans. Like, I would book Kevin Owens to win every single championship, including the NXT Divas Championship. Then there's thinking what will happen. Like, okay, this is what Kevin Owens is going to do. He's going to be in a match with Cesaro. You know? So I try not to fantasy book because I'm not good at it. I may know what I want, but it doesn't mean that other people are going to want that.
I try to prognosticate.
But prognostication is what I'm doing. And right now, I'm not that great at prognosticating as it is. But now I'm really bad at prognosticating what they're going to do with Kevin Owens, because just 4 weeks ago, we were saying how many programs Kevin Owens was in, and we had no idea where any of them were going. Like, he's feuding with Samoa Joe. He's feuding with Finn Balor. He's feuding with John Cena. He's got Sami Zayn still on the horizon. And now I don't know what they're doing with him. He's got Finn Balor in NXT, and that's it.
Yeah. I mean, but you still have options. You have guys around. You have pieces to put in still. Let's not sweat it just yet.
I'm not sweating it. I'm just curious what they're going to do with Kevin Owens in SummerSlam. Because I mean, it's not John Cena, but let's talk about what John Cena might be doing. Last night, it certainly looked like we were setting up maybe not a title match right away. Maybe it's just championship versus champion, but John Cena and Seth Rollins.
Raw is Ring of Honor.
Now, I know you said that, and other people have said that too, but Yeah, Ring
I
of
don't
Honor.
think I don't think they took it from I don't think they stole it from there necessarily, except for maybe the line about the belt. But I think it was more a reaction to the ratings. I do. I don't think they were trying to keep John Cena. I don't think they were trying to rebuild him into a world title contender. Don't get me wrong. I don't think that at all. But I think they were keeping him strong as the U.S. champ in case they had to elevate him to get interest and to really kind of make this show in SummerSlam top heavy. So I think that might have been the plan all along.
Yeah, I mean, it's John Cena. Take the U.S. title away from him. It's still John Cena. He's probably getting this spot because John Cena is your go-to big title guy.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, for all our, once again, we're going to go back to our incorrect prognostications. Maybe there was never a plan to give another guy the U.S. belt to elevate them. Maybe it's going to be he goes here, he wins the title from Seth, and he gives up the U.S. title, and it just becomes another belt.
I didn't envision the John Cena title win being the end of the Seth Rollins story, especially at the start when it was all Randy Orton.
Neither did I.
Then you had Roman Reigns, and then you had also Brock Lesnar coming back, and to turn around all to John Cena. Okay, because John Cena's been excellent the last several months. I'm not hating on John Cena, but WWE always goes into this mode where they're like, we're trying to tell stories in the ring, and we're telling stories, and we're storytellers, blah, blah, blah. We're trying to get the best story out there. John Cena getting the title from Seth Rollins isn't the best story.
No. And plus, John Cena's always the heel in these feuds, it seems, because he's had the same feud 3 times now between Rusev, Kevin Owens, and now Seth Rollins. It's you're not worthy of whatever position you're in. I'm the guy. I'm the face that runs the place. You need to prove to me that you're worthy. And it's always that kind of talking down thing, and it never really, I mean, it elevates the guy in a way, but it also doesn't, It's and especially for your world champ, who, he does need a strong win, don't get me wrong, but, once you take the belt away from Seth, he's going to be back in the pack too.
You might be back in the pack there. Yeah. I wonder if I put the title on the line. Like,
oh, yeah.
Did I miss something where they said it was going to be like a title match or anything?
No, but they're teasing it, and it's going to happen. You have to do it, right?
I don't know if you have to. I think you can do a title versus title because, again, your main event is Brock and Taker.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, title. Yeah, okay.
There's different.
I don't know what you were asking here. I thought you were asking, is Seth going to put the world title on the line? I'm like, yeah, he is. Of course he is.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know if it was going to be champion versus champion, I should say, or title versus title.
Okay. Now you're being clear. I think it's going to be title versus title.
Okay. I will go that way too, just because they seem like they always want to have a title match on there.
And then they can have a tournament on the network.
If he wins that championship, does he just give up the U.S. title? Does he defend both of them? Do they unify both titles?
No, he cuts that promo where he goes, "Look at what I've done to this belt. I hope the next guy gets it." And
I've risen the championship.
Yes.
Have a title tournament.
Mm-hmm.
That somehow John Cena wins himself anyway.
On to lower on the card, I was having an argument with someone. So the tag team title match is going to be like a 4-team cluster, right? Because you did the schoolboy finish here, so Los Matadores is quote unquote the number 1 contenders, and now they're going to return the favor when the New Day fights, right?
Well, that is what I was not quite sure of, because we had the match here at Battleground, which was for the tag team titles, Primetime Players and New Day, and Primetime Players won. So now, kind of like the Kevin Owens thing with John Cena, is you already had the title match, so now you have to have the grudge title match. And I'm wondering if the New Day coming out and costing them a win was just to try and build heat between those two teams specifically, and they might still have a just regular tag team championship match that now has a grudge factor to it. Or yes, they could do these trade wins, screw each other out of wins. Maybe the Ascension or maybe the Lucha Dragons is in the match with New Day.
Lucha Dragons, I think.
So Los Matadores and the Lucha Dragons get wins over the two teams. So now they're in the picture, even though the other two teams are the ones that have the grudge in between them.
Yeah, and even though that, we just switched the belts by, or we had the belts defended in an elimination chamber with 6 teams, we have to put 4 teams now in a match as opposed to having a one-on-one feud that we can build. Kind of ridiculous, but they want to put as many guys on the card as they can, so here you go.
That is a way to do it. That is a way to put as many guys as you can.
Yeah.
The hottest tag team program right now, though, and I love the primetime players, and I've loved what the New Day have done. The hottest tag team program right now is Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose against Bray Wyatt and Luke Harper.
I'm enjoying it. I was a bit swerved yesterday. I'll be honest with you. I thought the way they were presenting him, it looked like Dean was going to turn. Where he's just kind of being a little nonchalant and kind of there. I thought they were going to put him with the Wyatts and put Sting with Roman Reigns because of the rumors of Sting being around and teaming up. But, this could be a place where you put Kevin Owens with the Wyatts and you just have a 6-man and you can hide Sting within there and he'll get a nice pop and he'll get a nice rub with the win with Roman and Dean. So, yeah, no, and I love Luke Harper. Luke Harper's great. They never should have broken him up, I think. And, I don't know how Roman's coming off here. Is he a star anymore?
I don't know if people still react to the music.
Yes.
Okay. And people have this sense that because he was supposed to be the star, that he's still the guy we have to pay attention to.
Okay.
But I don't know if he's any more important right now than, Dean Ambrose is kind of on the same level. So you look at what Dean Ambrose is.
Dean still gets the we find him interesting and we wish he were higher on the card pop. He gets the we wish he were more than this.
Right. So, if they're on the same level, then where's Dean Ambrose?
Roman still gets the backlash at times too.
He does sometimes, yeah.
So, I think they may have cooled him down too much here.
Yeah, the original fan backlash to Roman Reigns was because he was getting too hot, too heavy, pushed down your throat. He was the biggest guy. He was never losing. Now he's losing all the time. Mm-hmm. So you have the tale of two Roman Reignses.
And now he needs his buddy all the time.
That's fine.
No,
he's got his
fine.
buddy.
It's fine. But
I like friends. Are you anti-friendship, Jeff?
You mean in general? No.
Oh God, were you actually going to answer yes to that question?
You haven't had my friends who have all turned on me at one point.
Wow.
No, no, but I'm saying they built him up and they put him as this basically as a lone wolf, standalone badass who doesn't need friends, and then all of a sudden they kept on creeping Dean back in more and more and more because Dean was still getting the reaction, so they wanted to share that. It's actually Roman siphoning off of Dean as opposed to Dean siphoning off of Roman now. It's kind of weird, to be honest.
It'll just get to that point again where they will go with Roman Reigns as the star. I don't know if it's going to be this WrestleMania or other points because, what they thought about Roman Reigns hasn't exactly gone away. Bray Wyatt beating Roman Reigns doesn't mean they don't believe in Roman Reigns anymore. It was, we had Luke Harper help.
I wasn't implying that they don't believe in him anymore. I was just wondering if he's still quote unquote a star.
Right. The thing is, he's no more of a star than most of the guys on the roster just because he hasn't gotten that big win. But he's a guy that people react to.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's a guy that people are going to pay money to see.
Okay.
And that's what a star is, but there's not anyone in WWE that people are specifically paying money to see right now, except for John Cena. Like he's the one of the full timers. Of course you have Undertaker and Brock, but of the full timers, John Cena's the one.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think people, even if Daniel Bryan came back tomorrow in 4 months, people would be paying specifically to see Daniel Bryan.
I don't either, and I don't think they'd treat him like that either.
If Daniel Bryan ever comes back to wrestle, he is never getting on the top of the card.
No.
People realize that now, right?
I hope so.
It's not because people don't, or they don't think he's a star. It's because they can't trust him.
I think it's column A and column B.
Daniel Bryan has had these issues. If he ever comes back, I don't know if he's ever coming back. And we'll cry a tear for that day when it comes. But if you have concussion issues like this, and you have to be out multiple times, that's usually not a good sign. Christian they had the unceremonious retirement of Christian. Like Jerry Lawler on a pay-per-view said, the former wrestler Christian, or whatever he said, the recently retired Christian. Like that's going to be Daniel Bryan. They could be talking on SummerSlam about, anything on that show. Like, oh, Daniel Bryan when he used to be in the ring.
Do they refer to Bree's moveset as Daniel Bryan's moveset? past couple nights.
Did they?
I don't think they did.
I didn't hear it.
Okay. I was just wondering.
No. They said a couple of things like, oh, Brie Bella stealing a page from her husband.
Okay.
She did that. But yeah, I don't even know how I got on the Daniel Bryan thing. But in the meantime, like, people pay money to see stars, and the one star right now is John Cena.
I agree.
Yeah.
And they know that too, and that's why he's getting the belt.
But if they can make Charlotte and Sasha Banks stars, I'm all for it. Getting wins last night on Raw, they were singled out. They got single wins and a tag win. Everyone looked pretty good, in my opinion. The one that now I'm doing a 180 here, because on Sunday I thought Brie Bella was perfectly fine. Boy, was she laughable on Monday's Raw.
Yeah.
And I like the Bellas. I actually do like the Bellas. I think Nikki is the better of the two, but I like the Bellas. Brie Bella was laughable on Raw. Out of place, badly timed. I don't know if the Bellas and this maybe is not the Bellas' fault, because they, as well as the audience who have been conditioned not to care about women's wrestling on Raw for the last however many years, the Bellas have been always in the ring for 5 to 6 minutes, having the same WWE style match with the same people for the last 5 or 6 years. And here they are being pushed in with people they haven't ever done anything with. And they're like, okay, go have these 12-minute matches that are supposed to be awesome. Well, the Bellas haven't been doing that. They haven't been practicing that. They haven't lived that. So is it really the Bellas' fault to be going in with Charlotte and Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch and even Naomi and doing the matches how they've been doing the matches? Like, that's on WWE. That's not on the Bellas, right?
Oh, I brought this up a few weeks ago when they planned it. Yeah, no, because the NXT girls work with each other, you know.
They work with each other in a warehouse.
Hours and hours a day.
5 days a week in the warehouse.
Yeah, and what they should have done is possibly send all or cycle the main roster women down there to work with them for a while and get a chemistry going and get a friendship going, possibly, as opposed to all these other media deals and, you know, total divas media junkets and stuff of that nature. And, you know, they're not going to have time to really build that bond here on the road necessarily, because, you know, they're still doing the media hits every city they go to. And then they come back to the arena, they go over their match a bit, and then they go out there and do it. As opposed to where you're kind of growing together as a unit at Full Sail. So, you know, it's odd because we've been talking all this time about how NXT divas are going to go up there and it's going to be sink or swim for them. Well, now the learning curve's on the other ladies, because Sasha's gone in there and looked good. Becky's gone in there and looked pretty good. Charlotte's gone in there and looked pretty good. Okay, now it's your ladies' turn. Can you hang or are you going to go away? Because if you can't, you know, we got other women we can bring up who know how to work with these women who are good.
Am I the only one who's excited to see what they're going to do with the NXT women's division now that the 3 pillars are gone? Bayley's still down there. You have Dana Brooke up. You have Emma down there right now.
Is it wrong that I'm kind of excited to see Ava Marie?
And
how she's doing in terms of growth?
I'm excited to see how Eva Marie is doing, whether she actually cares about it or not.
Yeah.
You know?
Whether she cares about wrestling or cares about being on TV. Yeah. No, I am as well. And I think Bayley will be good for Dana Brooke and for Emma. I mean, there's still women down there, and Casey's good. And there's women out on the indies they can sign and bring in. And I guess a couple of the talents now are being kind of shifted in other roles. Like I think, who is it? Dasha Correa or Dasha Currett?
Dasha's, she starts as a ring announcer.
AKA Dasha Fernandez, I guess. But yeah, no, she was training, and now they're going to make her, I think they're going to make her backstage, aren't they?
She does. Yeah, she's going to be a ring announcer on NXT here coming up.
It's a shame. I kind of wanted to see her in the ring because she had done a couple dark matches and stuff in tags. So I guess that's where they feel they need her.
Yeah, there's a lot of women that are down there that
we're still waiting for Devin to snap. We're still waiting for that.
Still waiting, but hey, maybe that's a sign. Maybe it's coming soon. I mean, Devin's been working a lot of the house shows. You know, she's been working house shows for a long time, but now she's like doing every single one.
Good.
So yeah, there's a lot of women down there, but I'm excited to see the divisions.
The thing about it is NXT women, they make them strong characters and then they put them in a story as opposed to having a story and trying to find a character for them. So they're all interesting in their own way, and they're all, they all fit in that kind of that little universe. I almost call it high school-esque. And that's kind of the disconnect between the main roster Divas division where, everybody's kind of it's more Melrose Place to NXT's Beverly Hills 90210, I guess, if you wanted to call it that.
NXT is rebuilding, not just on the women's side, but the men's side, with Sami Zayn out, with Kevin Owens gone, with Hideo Itami out.
In his whirly ball.
Well, what's crazy is I was like, I want to say Hideo Nomo, so make sure you don't. And then I did.
Oh, I almost have before, so don't worry about it. No, the only problem with NXT right now is kind of their tag division is a little lackluster.
It's certainly weird now, and we can't even talk about it because it's spoilers, but
right.
This NXT tag division, this is one of those reasons why it's crazy to tape so far apart, but for NXT you kind of have to, whatever, that's fine. The show that's going to start airing on Wednesday all the way up to TakeOver, complete reset.
Yeah.
On almost everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's a reset of the entire show. If you are going out there and you're like, oh, I haven't watched NXT in a couple of weeks, I should get caught up.
It's a retcon. Welcome to it.
You don't need to get caught up because
starting at issue number 1.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Everything is starting over. Nothing that has mattered before matters now. Nothing.
Crisis on Infinite NXT.
But it's a rebuilding time because you have all the women coming up. You have the men that have changed so much due to injury and due to coming up on the main roster. It's a whole complete rebuild.
And yet Blake and Murphy haven't changed at all.
No, I mean, Blake tries to become Billy Gunn more and more every show, which is, why not? He's one of your trainers.
Yeah.
So try to become like Billy Gunn. He did all right for himself. But yeah, you have those changes in NXT. We also had the knowledge this week that leading up to Night of Champions in September, Night of Champions is taking place in Houston, Texas on September 20th. The 3 days prior to September 20th, NXT is going on the road, Jeff.
Ooh.
NXT is going to Texas.
Austin.
Houston. They are going on the 17th to Houston.
Okay.
On the 18th to Austin.
Right.
And on the 19th, I am going to have you guess where they are going to be. But before I do that, I want to tell you what else is going on the 19th of September in Texas.
Okay.
Ring of Honor All-Star Extravaganza Night 2 will be taking place on September 19th in San Antonio, Texas. Now, that is indirect of anything we've just talked about, but Jeff Hawkins, where will NXT be on the 19th?
Gee, dare I ask if it's in San Antonio?
It is actually going to be San Antonio. How'd you know that?
You remember when we were talking about, they don't really want to harm ROH. Lies.
Well, I was always thinking they weren't going out of their way to harm ROH, at least not long term. They weren't trying to kill them.
Wrong.
Minor inconveniences.
Wrong.
There might be something more to it. Yeah, they are going to be in San Antonio with the headliners. No Kevin Owens on the show. Kevin Owens is now gone after TakeOver. He's got to be gone from NXT after TakeOver. So no Kevin Owens. You're going to have Finn Balor, Tyler Breeze, Enzo and Big Cass, Bayley, Carmella, and the top billed star at the moment, Samoa Joe.
Okay.
I know that's the one you were waiting for. But yeah, Samoa Joe begins his regular touring of NXT.
I was worried because I thought, well, geez, is he already gone?
No, but this will be one of the first tours because he's not working these Florida shows. This will be one of those where, okay, NXT is going out of Florida and Samoa Joe is going to be on all 3 of those shows in Texas in September.
Good for him. I like him. You didn't list Baron Corbin, did you?
He's not listed on the thing, but I'm sure he'll be there.
Is it time to rebuild them?
Rebuild what? Baron?
I mean, are they going to start because he's kind of been a forgotten man for the most part.
Well, I mean, he's going to have a match on TakeOver, and it's going to be a pretty high-profile match.
Okay.
So, that's fine. Do you know who that match is against?
I have no clue.
Oh, well, I won't spoil it for you.
Well, you can tell me off air.
I'm going to spoil it.
Okay.
Skip ahead 30 seconds, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Baron Corbin versus Samoa Joe is the match at TakeOver.
Okay. That should be
This is what I meant by the reset button, Jeff. I mean, they're hitting reset on everybody.
Wow. I didn't even read the spoilers. So I'm gobsmacked and fascinated, and we'll see what Samoa Joe can do with the man, right?
All right, that was 30 seconds, so we have to stop now.
Okay.
Also announced for TakeOver, and this is not a spoiler because it was announced by WWE, Jushin Liger is going to be wrestling at NXT TakeOver in a match that this may be very well the match that I'm most excited for, okay? Because the match we just talked about is one. The main event that's already been announced is Finn Balor versus Kevin Owens, where there's, to me, no drama to that one because I don't see how it's possible Kevin Owens can win. Like, it's Finn Balor getting a win.
I think they're going to do a redo of the Japan match.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be great.
Yeah.
But there's no dramatic, like, who's going to win this one to me. And if they give it to Kevin Owens, then we can talk, all weekend long about that. Jushin Liger versus Tyler Breeze is likely to be the opener of TakeOver Brooklyn. And I got to say, on a scale of 1 to 10, how I'm excited for this one, I'm giving it a 10.
Oh, yeah, I am too. And Liger's always good. Even at his age now, he's still pulling out great matches here and there. So
great, fun matches. Okay. Yeah. His first match ever in WWE will be this one at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. Yeah.
And he's under contract to New Japan, correct? Or does he have? I think he has enough clout where he's allowed to book his own stuff.
Yeah, this isn't a New Japan WWE relationship. This is Jushin Liger, who's been for a long time now able to kind of book his own stuff.
Right.
Even when Ring of Honor had the relationship with Noah, Jushin Liger was coming in.
Dare I ask, Legends contract possibly?
Maybe in the States, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why not?
Maybe even a Hall of Fame nod as one of the lower tier guys. I think
eventually he's absolutely going to be in the Hall of Fame. And you know what? I wouldn't be shocked if they put a Japanese wrestling personality in the Hall of Fame every year from here on out.
Right.
Every year. Just because you have the J Sports connection, you have the WWE network in Japan, pretty big country, pretty big deal. So I wouldn't be shocked if they do.
And you have a lot of his, you have his WCW run as well in terms of your archives.
You have a lot of content on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when content is king and you have a lot of content of Jushin Liger, I don't know if it's going to be this year, but eventually, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Jushin Liger going in the Hall of Fame. But yeah, Tyler Breeze, Jushin Liger, I'm excited for that matchup. I know it caused a lot of discussion, the fact that Jushin Liger was coming onto this show, just because Ring of Honor is running Brooklyn that same night at a ballpark in Brooklyn with other New Japan names, Okada, Nakamura. But Kenny Omega is on the PWS show that night. So like some of these guys can book their own things, It's not like Ring of Honor was already booking Jushin Liger anyway. Like he wasn't on the show to begin with.
Like multi-man tags and whatnot.
Well, some of the guys are coming over. Haruki Goto is coming to the States that week too. You don't see him on the Ring of Honor show. You don't see him on the WWE show. But he's going to be around.
Where's Toru Yano going to be that night?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe practicing his different variations of the kick to the nuts.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Sign him.
I don't know.
Him and Archibald Peck.
No, definitely not. What are you doing now?
Fantasy booking.
God, you're the worst. Hey, I wanna try something here just to see if people will publicize it and get us more attention.
Okay.
Will you bear with me for a second?
This is what you call a the working the internet minute for you.
Yeah, this is working the internet. Sure, okay. Why not? I don't know.
I will be quiet then.
Can Continue. You? No, I need your help.
Oh, okay.
Can you say the following sentence?
Sure.
And then we had Tracy Williams.
And then we had Tracy Williams.
Ah, yes, the Silver Ant. All right, internet, go explode. I don't know if it's going to work now because, like, no one cares really about the Silver Ant, especially people who listen to our show. Mm-hmm. People just probably heard that 30 seconds and were like, what the
True.
hell? What are they doing?
Let's continue.
Chuck Taylor's Mr. Azerbaijan. Let's see. What else should we do? Not that that's a surprise. What else do we have? Do we have anything
our top
else?
100 match?
Well, aside from our top 100 match, was there anything else that we need to discuss? I don't think so.
Not really. No.
Ricochet.
You want to talk about what the July 24th or whatever, the big night, all the stuff going on.
I want to talk about July 24th. Also, Ricochet came out today. Ricochet is going to wrestle Kushida on the G1 Finals night. Ricochet is working the final 3 nights of the G1.
Nice.
So hooray, Ricochet. WWE castaway Ricochet. They're like, we can't have you. We don't know who you are. Go away.
I'm hearing all over Tessa Blanchard's Instagram.
Well, that's a different story. I'm sure he appears on a lot of Instagrams.
Very true.
A lot of them. July 24th is a crazy day, and we're finally at that week, so we can talk about it. Ring of Honor has Death Before Dishonor on iPay-per-view on Friday.
Yes.
Jay Lethal versus Roderick Strong for the ROH Championship. The Briscoes versus Roppongi Vice, which would be my main event if I was going to that show.
Ooh, me likey.
Adam Cole versus Dalton Castle. That'll be fun. And a 4-way tag title match with Red Dragon and The Addiction, amongst others. So that is the first event going on that day. Not to mention that New Japan has a show Friday morning. And then when all of these West Coast shows on the July 24th are done, like 2 hours later, New Japan has another G1 show. So you got the G1 surrounding this day, which you can watch on New Japan World here in the States. You got Ring of Honor on iPay-per-view here in the States. And then Global Force Wrestling that day has their first TV tapings for their Amped TV show that doesn't actually have TV.
Right.
Congo Kong, Magnus, Kushida and Chris Sabin are teaming up on that show.
That should be cool.
Jeff Jarrett, Karen Jarrett, all the Jarrett kids, I'm sure, running around. So that's Global Force Wrestling. And then maybe not so much the most talked about, like it's talked about in circles, but because it's on the West Coast, because it's PWG and people just expect it from them, I don't know if it's getting a lot of discussion on this show. But PWG Tremendous 4.
Yeah.
With the Young Bucks going up against Jack Ellens and Angelico in the main event for the World Tag Team Championships, because I didn't realize that the Young Bucks actually won the titles back at Mystery Vortex, but they did.
Oh, yeah. When they did the Mount Rushmore 2.
Yeah, I didn't know that was the tag title match until I was looking it up today, actually. Ricochet versus Akira Tozawa is taking place on that show. Chris Hero and Mike Bailey. And Team Tremendous against Candice and Joey. That's what's announced so far. Yeah, this is a crazy day. Like the PWG show and the GWF shows, you can't watch live as they tape. Ring of Honor you can. The New Japan shows you can. WWE has a house show that night. I'm sure NXT probably has a house show that night. In fact, I think NXT is debuting in like West Palm Beach. NXT has a house show in Florida, in one of the new markets in Florida. So there's a lot going on July 24th. And then July 25th happens and you're like, ooh, I can breathe.
Yeah. I can read Twitter and see what happened.
I can read Twitter. Like every once in a while on Voices of Wrestling the last couple of weeks, I've done a weekend in review little thing where I just kind of like highlight what happened over the course of the weekend. Because in summertime, and I did it mostly because of me. Like in summer, on the weekends, I'm not paying attention to what's going on, especially in wrestling, but like anything. So like a Monday happens and, what happened on the house shows? Did GWF have a live event that something happened at? What went on?
Oh, I can answer that question. No.
Well, what went on? So I do this and I'm like, next week, I'll just be able to write about July 24th. Like I don't have to care about Saturday and Sunday because all of it's happening on Friday. It's just a crazy time to be alive. Austin Aries is tweeting out that he has business to conduct in Florida next week.
Ooh,
I think
cryptic tweets.
Yeah, cryptic tweets. Austin Aries just came back to Ring of Honor. He did the Las Vegas show.
He's gonna lose to someone on Tough Enough.
Well, it's cryptic tweets, but I think some of these guys are starting to do it on purpose.
Yeah.
I think Gabe is doing it on purpose. I think Austin Aries is doing it on purpose. Let me work these guys into a tizzy.
Yeah.
The NWA Championship match at Starrcade 1985. Dusty Rhodes versus Ric Flair. Ric Flair was going in as the champion. This is match number 70 on our WWE Network Top 100 Matches to See Before You Die countdown, a countdown constructed by WWE.com. We are going through the matches one by one. You can get an entire list at voicesofwrestling.com/STR/top 100, or just go to Voices of Wrestling and find the Shake Them Ropes link. It is match number 70, so we've worked our way down this list quite a bit. Dusty Rhodes, Ric Flair, from the Omni in Atlanta, Georgia, on November 28th, 1985, 4 days after the birth of Robert McCarran.
I'm sure that's what it'll be remembered for, as opposed to being a multi-city event.
It was a multi-city event, before WrestleMania 2. WrestleMania 2 happened the following spring.
And that's where you got the idea.
Yep.
So, 84, 85, going into 85 Starrcade at the end of the year, very interesting time in the NWA. I was in the beginning of my fandom, I think. Maybe I've been about a year in or so. 1984, Ric Flair is the type of character where, depending on who he's feuding with, he's the heel or the face. Towards the end of 84, he had been feuding with Dusty and with Magnum throughout 84 and 85, but he'd also been feuding with Tully Blanchard and Wahoo McDaniel, of all people, which those Tully Flair promos are sweet, but very hard to find. But also the Russians, Nikita Koloff, Ivan Koloff, and Crusher Khrushchev. So he had been kind of towing the line on both sides throughout 85, coming through here, having a uneasy, well, not an uneasy, I would say, but he'd have alliances from time to time with his quote unquote cousins, the Andersons. He had kind of alluded to being fascinated by Tully Blanchard after feuding with him because he's a winner. And a month and a half after Starrcade is the formation of the Four Horsemen. But the setup for this match is basically it's a repeat of an angle that happened in Georgia Championship Wrestling, where Ole Anderson had teamed with Dusty Rhodes to take on the Assassins, and each team had picked a referee. Ole had picked his brother, and the Assassins had picked Ivan Koloff. And what they did was they basically all turned on Dusty Rhodes and beat the crap out of him in a cage. It's a great angle. Go watch it on YouTube. It's fantastic. So what they did here was, at the time, Ric Flair was kind of a babyface because Nikita Koloff, in another infamous moment at least in NWA history, had clotheslined David Crockett, the announcer, and put him out of business for a while. And so he was feuding with the Russians. And so during a match between Ric Flair and Nikita Koloff, the rest of the Russians rush in to start beating on Ric Flair. And who should save him but Dusty Rhodes? Well, the Andersons come in and chase off the Russians. And then the Andersons and Flair thank Dusty for his help by beating the crap out of him and breaking his ankle. And after that, as Dusty's rehabbing, Flair's kind of on tour. In 1985, he went over to Japan, and he had a title unification match thing with AWA champ Rick Martel. They're still building the Magnum feud, kind of, but they've kind of switched partners with Tully Blanchard and Dusty Rhodes and whatnot. It was all crisscross and whatnot. But on the lead up to Starrcade is Dusty Rhodes' possibly most famous promo, the Hard Times promo. And so we're getting these magical promos back and forth between Flair and Dusty. And this is the blow-off for said feud. Starrcade 85, The Gathering.
The Gathering. The event took place in the Greensboro Coliseum, as well as the Omni in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. This was the main event of the Omni portion of the show, also the main event of the entire pay-per-view. It is on WWE Network.
Yes. Wasn't a pay-per-view at the time. It was a closed circuit. Or yes. You wait for video. Yeah.
Yes. Closed circuit.
And then the main event in the other place was the Andersons versus the Rock and Roll Express, with the co-main event, Magnum versus Tully I Quit, which comes up later in this list.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I want to look at that Greensboro Coliseum show, NWA Starrcade, 1985.
I have it here if you want it.
You have what there?
I have the listing of the matches.
The listing of I was looking at the Greensboro.
Yeah.
Ole Anderson. Yeah, that's interesting.
No. Actually, they're in the Omni.
I was gonna say because they come out in the main event.
I misremembered. I misremembered.
I was all confused there.
I apologize.
That's okay. That's okay. It was the
Rock and Rolls were taking on the Right.
Yes, it was the Rock and Roll Express, or the Midnight Express. Excuse me.
I'm sorry, Rob.
That's okay. It was it's okay. It's fine. It's the Rock and Roll Express and the Koloffs was the main event of the Greensboro Coliseum show.
Yes.
The Andersons were on the Omni show, but the main event of the Omni show, Dusty Rhodes, Ric Flair.
Yes.
And this one, for the first minute of the match, they don't touch.
Nope.
Ric Flair's prepping. Dusty Rhodes is just standing there. And Dusty Rhodes is tired of Ric Flair prepping. So he starts strutting.
Yep.
Driving the women crazy. Making fun of Flair. So we got 1 minute of nothing. And then that second minute was just Dusty Rhodes beating the hell out of Ric Flair.
Yeah. Just slapping him, elbowing him, getting on him.
And I did not know going in how long this match was. I was anticipating a very long one until I saw, they have the little chapter markings. I'm like, geez, there's a lot of bubbles on this show. So it must not be going too long. But you could tell right away in that second minute, like if you thought the first minute was slowly paced, you could have been like, okay, they're going a really long time. And then you watch the second minute, I'm like, nope, they aren't. Dusty Rhodes was going at it, punching him. Ric Flair goes out, and then they wrestle for the next 20 minutes. And Ric Flair is kind of working the Dusty Rhodes leg, which Dusty Rhodes sells. Like he gets attacked, and then he dumps out of the ring as if like he just legitimately got hurt. Like, oh my god, I have to stop right now.
Well, let me stop you there because that's set up by Flair going out of the ring at first. Because this match really starts to pick up with the crowd the first time Dusty stomps on Flair's leg.
Yes.
And Flair ain't having none of that. And he's getting at it and he's stalling a bit. And then Flair kind of goes in and does the same thing to Dusty's leg.
Right.
And hurts him. Yep. And there's kind of, it's kind of within the second act of this match is various ways that each other's legs are getting hurt. Because there's a point where Flair tries to suplex Dusty and his leg gives out. And he can't go. And then there's another part where Dusty goes to kick Flair in the corner, and Flair moves and he kicks him right there. And that's kind of, and that starts to lead to Flair going for the figure four over and over and over again. And there's something magical about Dusty being in Ric Flair's figure four because the man starts to talk like a sailor. He starts swinging air punches and just yelling at Flair, "You son of a bee, I'm gonna," that kind of stuff. And it's great. This is once again the NWA old school style. It's a fight dressed up as a wrestling match. They are trying to hurt each other in order to get a pin.
Yep. And they were.
Mm-hmm.
They really were working the legs a lot. What I thought was interesting, because a lot of times when I'm watching, especially the older matches, I just want to see how it differs from today.
Okay.
A lot of these older matches that, not particularly the important ones, because a lot of the important ones I've gone back and seen, but so, for example, this match right here, Bob Caudle and Tony Schiavone are the announcers for it. They're the announcers. They were live at the Omni show.
Right.
But they were calling the whole thing. So they're live at the Omni show. And they were super quiet for most of the match.
That's a note I have down here. They let this match breathe,
They
just let it tell the story, as opposed to what happens a lot now in commentating is everybody's trying to get their stuff in, and it's like, shut up and let's watch the match, guys.
Right. I was so engaged in the match that I thought, okay, maybe I'm just not paying attention to the announcers. Like maybe I drowned them out. So I kind of rewound a little bit. I put the little cursor back, and I'm listening to the opening parts again. I'm like, no, they're just quiet. Bob Caudle isn't talking that much. Every once in a while, you'll hear a Tony Schiavone line about, especially when they would dump out of the ring. That's when they would talk like, okay, there's no action here, so we can actually say something. But
actually, you know what I did? I did kind of the same thing. I looked for a copy of it that wasn't WWE to see if they had dubbed out any lines.
Which would be ironic, like WWE actually removing commentary instead of adding more.
Right.
But yeah, no, they let the match in the ring do the talking. You could hear a ton of the fans, and that's where you kind of referenced in the open there. Like you can hear the fans doing everything.
Woo, Dusty Rhodes.
because Tony Schiavone wasn't talking. Bob Caudle wasn't talking. And so you had all these gaps in between, and it was kind of refreshing. Like, it's always refreshing when you see something different. I mean, the WWE show in Japan was refreshing because it was different from a normal Raw or a normal special event. So it's one of those situations where you just get the difference there.
But then for the end of the match, you get something we see a lot these days.
The end of the match, yeah. So we get to the end of the match here, and Tommy Young is the referee. And
Tommy Young, but he's made of paper mache.
So Dusty Rhodes is covering Ric Flair.
Yes.
But Ric Flair kicks out, does the Big Show kick out where he pushes Dusty Rhodes kind of up and over him. So Dusty Rhodes just flies to the side.
Oh, yeah. No, we forgot. No, Tommy Young gets smacked by Dusty Rhodes accidentally when he's punching Ric Flair in the ropes. That's what starts the whole thing.
Oh, that's how we got a little dazed. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he gets dazed there, and then the pinfall happens, and Dusty Rhodes crushes when he's getting kicked out of. Dusty Rhodes crushes Tommy Young, but Tommy Young still gets up. Like, he's dazed from the slap, from the hit, from the tap, if you will. And then he's dazed from the punishment of Dusty Rhodes landing on him. Mm-hmm. And then the big blow is off camera because we see Dusty Rhodes, we see Ric Flair that kind of zoomed in on him.
Yeah.
So Ric Flair, is it Ric Flair that pushes Dusty Rhodes in? No, it's Dusty Rhodes that pushes Ric Flair into Tommy Young.
Dusty Rhodes pushes Flair into the ropes, and he hits Tommy Young on the way.
And that's when Tommy Young goes down. But this referee,
flying.
He goes flying. He goes flying out of the ring. Still really tough though, because at that moment he's out, and Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes are wrestling in the ring, and that's when Ole and Arn come in. Mm-hmm. Ole and Arn take out Dusty Rhodes, but you can still see Tommy Young there. Tommy Young is sitting up. He's outside the ring, but he's sitting up. He's watching the Andersons attack Dusty Rhodes.
Yep.
And then the Andersons go out, and one of them hits Tommy Young, and that's what finally puts him down. Like, Tommy Young is finally gone now because he just got the straight shot. And Dusty Rhodes, a new referee comes in.
Stu Schwartz, who was, I believe, a Florida enhancement talent or a Florida talent at one time, comes in in a referee shirt as a second ref.
He comes in. Ric Flair looks like he has the advantage for sure on Dusty Rhodes, but Dusty Rhodes flash rolls him up, hits the not the schoolboy, but the small package for a 1-2-3, and Dusty Rhodes, for at least this night, was the NWA World Heavyweight Champion.
This is a moment that is going to live in wrestling history. Congratulations. It was a long road back for this man, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, and deservedly enjoying this moment. Billy Jack Haynes is here. Deservedly enjoying this moment. Dusty?
We got it, Daddy. Let me tell you something. We got it. Way back when Dusty Rhodes said this was for the textile workers, auto workers, car workers, all the blue-collar people across this country, this great land. The American Dream came back from the bottom and is now world heavyweight champion, and I'm going to be that way for a long time. My man Chief, we here, Daddy. Nobody can beat the people. Nobody can beat the world. And nobody can beat the American Dream.
The new world heavyweight champion.
Yes, you have Pez Watley, Manny Fernandez, Billy Jack Haynes, and the Italian Stallion coming in to celebrate the championship. They take them back to the locker room where Tony Schiavone's waiting in their they're spraying, same guys are spraying champagne over there. Manny Fernandez just does not want to leave the camera. He's trying to get in as much of the interview as he can there.
He's smiling. He's looking straight at it like, I'm on TV.
His fantastic mullet with the little blonde patch in the back, which is one of my favorite things in wrestling ever.
Right.
Yeah, and Dusty cuts his magnificent promo about the people. The people believed in me. And Dusty or Wahoo and Manny Fernandez. The belt's ours now. The belt's ours now. Well, the belt's not theirs now, is it, Rob?
It's not, because this was a dusty finish. The original referee, Tommy Young, and this was not on the same show. This was later. A lot of times you get these dusty finishes and they happen on the same show, at least from the 90s on up. No. Later on, it's decided that original referee Tommy Young ruled it a disqualification win for Dusty Rhodes.
Correct.
Due to the interference that he saw. You could see him on camera watching the Andersons come in and attack before the new referee even came into the picture. So from that point, even though Tommy Young wasn't physically capable to ring the bell there, he knew that was at the point where the match had to end because of the disqualification. So Ric Flair would remain the champion until the summer of 1986,
Yes,
where
the Great
Dusty
American
Rhodes,
Bash. Yes.
where Dusty Rhodes would finally get his win over Ric Flair for the championship, starting his gigantic 14-day reign.
Yes.
Ric Flair was the Wrestler of the Year in 1985 by both the Pro Wrestling Illustrated magazine and the Wrestling Observer.
I believe that this is the first major show that Dusty Rhodes booked. I might be wrong on that.
He started off hot.
Yes.
The Dusty finish. And it would take I was looking at, if you go to the Wikipedia page for NWA Starrcade 1985.
Yes, where I'm at.
The cover on there, the picture for the page says DVD cover featuring Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes. And the cover does feature Starrcade 85, Dusty Rhodes, Ric Flair.
Yes.
And it also has this tagline up there saying Pro Wrestling Illustrated's top wrestling match of 1985.
Yes, but it is not Flair and Dusty.
It is not.
No. It is my favorite match of all time. Tully Blanchard versus Magnum TA in the I Quit match.
Yeah, they had it wrong. Maybe they were referencing the 1986 match.
Hold on. Rob, are you saying that pro wrestling promoters might bait and switch someone?
Yeah. I'm saying they might. I'm saying they might.
So overall, you liked this. You liked this
it was very engaging. Like I said, I was so engaged that I thought I was ignoring commentary.
Had you ever seen it?
I had never seen this one all the way through.
Okay.
I had seen
the Joe Lewis one.
No, I had actually seen the ending sequence. I'd seen the ending sequence with Tommy Young going down of this match before. I had never seen it from start to finish.
Right.
And I had never seen anything else that was on this show. So I was kind of going through and being interested.
Yeah, Starrcade 85, the bloodletting. Because there was blood in every match on this show, and it was staining the canvas. Hepatitis for everybody.
I had to hide my virgin eyes. I was freaking out from all the blood.
Yeah, I know. You're used to sports entertainment, my little young one. But there's blood in wrestling, or there used to be when men did it, when men fought each other.
I thought that shit had stopped. I don't need people bleeding in my ring.
Nope. Next week's match, Rey Mysterio versus Ultimo Dragon, WCW World War III, 1996, for those who are so inclined.
For the J-Cup. Next week, we're going to have the continued build towards SummerSlam. We are also going to have the results. And we're going to see if July 24th indeed was this crazy day that we envisioned it to be. You can follow us on Twitter at Shake Them Ropes. Jeff Hawkins is at CrapGame13. You can contact us on Twitter. The DM box is open, so if you need to DM us anything, you can certainly do so until I decide that's a crazy idea. YouTube.com/Voices of Wrestling. Go there especially if you're a New Japan fan now. I mean, we have our podcasts up there. We have the Voices of Wrestling podcast up there. If you are a New Japan fan and can't spend 3 hours every day for the next month watching the G1 shows, you can catch up on the G1 with our 10-minute daily updates of the happenings of the New Japan G1 Climax 25 at youtube.com/Voices of Wrestling. If you're a fan of the podcast, subscribe to us, iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, TuneIn, Downcast, whole bunch of different places, and consider telling your friends about it. And take a moment maybe and fill out a review. It would certainly be helpful to get other people, their eyes onto our show if possible. Jeff Hawkins.
Yes.
It's been fun.